The movie was intense, supernatural horror, just how we liked it. But my friends and I were on edge, even more so than the movie intended. Maria kept checking her watch. Her mum was strict and it was already past her curfew.
We have to go. If I'm late, my mom will flip.
I wanted to see the end. John and Mark did too. But Maria was right. We couldn't risk her getting in trouble. We scurried out of the theatre, hearts pounding with a mix of adrenaline from the movie and fear of Maria's mum. The parking lot was eerily deserted. The only sound was the distant hum of traffic from the highway. Our breath formed little clouds in the cool night air. We reached John's car, a beat-up old sedan that had seen better days. He fumbled with his keys, his hands shaking. Finally, the lock clicked and we piled in. John turned the key, but the engine only whined in response.
Come on, come on.
John muttered, pumping the gas pedal. The engine sputtered and finally roared to life. We all breathed a sigh of relief, but it was short-lived. As we reversed, there was a loud hissing sound. John slammed on the brakes. We all stared in disbelief at the flat tire.
Are you kidding me? A flat tire now?
John got out to inspect the damage. He kicked the tire, muttering curses under his breath. The tire was completely flat, the rubber deflated and useless.
Spare tire in the trunk. Let's hope this night gets better.
As John struggled to change the tire, a wave of unease washed over us. The parking lot seemed to grow darker, the shadows lengthening around us. We huddled closer, our earlier excitement replaced with a growing sense of dread.
This is creepy. Can we just get out of here already?
We all felt it too, a prickling sensation on the back of our necks like we were being watched. But when we turned around, there was nothing there, just the empty parking lot and the dark, silent buildings surrounding us. The tire change felt like an eternity. Just as John tightened the last bolt, a car pulled into the nearly empty parking lot. It was a rusty pickup truck, its headlights casting long, eerie shadows. Two figures sat inside, their faces obscured by the darkness.
Help has arrived.
Mark said, attempting a reassuring smile, but his voice wavered. We approached the truck cautiously. John explained our situation to the driver, a burly man with a gruff voice and a suspicious stare. He agreed to let one of us ride with him to the nearest gas station. Maria volunteered, eager to reach home as soon as possible.
Call us when you get there, and be careful.
I told Maria, my voice tight with worry. She climbed into the truck, and with a roar of the engine, they disappeared into the night. We watched them go, a mixture of hope and apprehension swirling within us. Hope that this was just a minor setback. Apprehension about what the night might still hold. We waited in the parking lot, the silence only broken by our nervous chatter and the occasional passing car on the distant highway. Every minute felt like an hour. Finally, John's phone buzzed. It was Maria.
Guys, you're not going to believe this. They got a flat tire too.
We were stunned. 2 flat tires in one night? What were the odds? It felt like we were trapped in some absurd nightmare.
We're stranded on the side of the road. The driver's trying to call for help, but there's no signal here.
A wave of helplessness washed over us. We were stranded miles from home with a car that seemed determined to work against us.
Don't worry, Maria. We'll figure something out. Just stay put and we'll come get you.
We hung up and huddled together, our faces illuminated by the pale glow of John's phone. This was definitely not how we envisioned our night ending, but we had to do something. We couldn't leave Maria stranded. Section 5. Third time's the charm. For a flat tire, that is. John managed to flag down a passing car, a beat-up minivan driven by a friendly-looking woman who seemed unfazed by our disheveled appearance and desperate pleas for help.
She agreed to give us a lift to the gas station where Maria was stranded.
We piled into the minivan, grateful for the unexpected assistance. The woman, who introduced herself as Martha, chatted cheerfully about her grandchildren, seemingly oblivious to the growing tension inside the vehicle. But our relief was short-lived. As we rounded a bend, we heard that all-too-familiar hissing sound.
Oh no, Martha sighed, pulling over to the side of the road. Not another flat tire.
3 flat tires in one night. This was beyond coincidence. It felt like a cruel joke. We stared at the deflated tire, a mixture of disbelief and despair etched on our faces.
Don't worry, kids, Martha said, her cheerful demeanor surprisingly unshaken. I've got a spare. This happens all the time when you live in the boonies.
As Martha changed the tire with surprising efficiency, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was wrong. Very wrong. Section 6. Where's the nearest gas station? We finally reached the gas station, only to find it closed for the night. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting an eerie glow on the empty pumps.
Maria was sitting on a bench outside, her arms wrapped around herself, her face pale and drawn. She looked like she was about to cry.
This is hopeless, she whispered, her voice trembling. I'm never going to get home.
We tried to reassure her, but our words felt hollow even to our own ears. The night was slipping away, and we were no closer to getting Maria home or figuring out what was going on. John checked his phone again, battery almost dead.
There's got to be another gas station nearby, he muttered, scrolling through his map app. There's one about 5 miles down this road, he announced finally. But
he trailed off, his face etched with concern. We all knew what he was thinking. We were running low on fuel ourselves.
we can make it. We have enough gas to get there and back.
I don't know, man. This car's a gas guzzler. We have to try. We can't just leave Maria here. All right, fine. But if we run out of gas, don't blame me.
We piled back into the car, the atmosphere thick with tension and apprehension. Maria was unusually quiet, her gaze fixed on the passing scenery, her brow furrowed in thought.
What is it, Maria? I think we've been here before.
What do you mean?
This road, this scenery. I've seen it before. I can't remember when.
The engine sputtered. John swore under his breath. The fuel gauge needle hovered just above empty. We had been driving for what felt like hours, the seemingly endless road stretching before us like a black ribbon. The gas station seemed no closer than it had been before.
I told you we should have brought a jerry can. Now's not the time for I told you so's.
We were stranded again. Our phones were dead, the battery drained by our futile attempts to find help. The night was closing in, the darkness pressing against the car windows like a suffocating blanket. We were officially out of options.
What do we do now?
We all looked at each other, our faces illuminated by the pale moonlight filtering through the car windows. Fear hung heavy in the air, thick and suffocating. Suddenly headlights appeared in the distance, cutting through the darkness like a beacon of hope. A car was approaching. The car slowed to a stop beside us. It was a sleek black sedan, its windows tinted dark. We couldn't make out the driver. John rolled down his window cautiously.
Need some help?
We hesitated, unsure whether to trust this stranger. But at this point, what other choice did we have? John explained our predicament. The stranger listened patiently, then offered us a solution.
Follow me, I know a shortcut.
We exchanged nervous glances. A shortcut? Where could this mysterious driver possibly be taking us at this late hour? But desperation outweighed our apprehension. We decided to trust the stranger. The black sedan led us down a winding road we had never noticed before. The trees grew denser, their branches forming an archway overhead, blocking out the moonlight. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. It felt like we were entering another world. After what felt like an eternity, we emerged from the trees onto a familiar street. We were just blocks away from Maria's house. We thanked the stranger profusely, but before we could ask for their name or how they knew the shortcut, the black sedan sped away, disappearing into the night as quickly as it had appeared. We dropped Maria off at her house, relieved that she was finally home safe. She promised to call us in the morning, but we could tell she was shaken, her eyes wide with a mixture of relief and lingering fear. As we drove home, the events of the night replayed in our minds like a horror movie. The flat tires, the closed gas station, the mysterious stranger, the shortcut through the woods. It all seemed so surreal, so impossible.
What was that all about?
I don't know, but I have a feeling we're never going to forget this night.
We rode the rest of the way home in silence, each lost in our thoughts. The events of the night had shaken us to our core, leaving us with more questions than answers. Was it just a string of incredibly bad luck, or was there something more sinister at play? We didn't have the answers, but one thing was for sure. We wouldn't be forgetting this night anytime soon. The lingering unease, the feeling of being watched, followed us home, casting a shadow over what should have been a night of harmless fun. We had faced our fears, but the question remained, had our fears truly faced us?